We all wish we can experience watching One Piece again for the first time. I sat down with Ethan, who has read over 915 chapters of One Piece, to get his perspective on how Film Red got him into the series, what it's like navigating spoilers online, the love-hate relationship of Sanji and Ussop, and the tragic story of Kuma. Please consider leaving a like if you enjoy. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome to the Willa D's channel. The channel where we talk about the One Piece manga, the card game, and the occasional anime episode. I have someone here today that I call friend, a fellow One Piece enjoyer. He goes by Saxsquirrel or Ethan. And whenever I catch him live on Twitch, he's either playing a Nuzlocke or having a heart-to-heart with his chat. But today, I finally get him here to talk about One Piece. Now, Ethan, how you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great, and you?
I'm chilling, man. I think the first time we met was like 3 years ago. Like
Dude,
4 years ago.
It may have been longer because I probably met you around the same time I met Afro, and
Yeah.
I met, dude, it was like 2018, 2019. It feels insane that was that long ago to me.
Yeah, there was a lot of moving parts. There would be days where I see you every day, and then a long break in between where we haven't talked.
Dude, it was crazy, and then now it's like, because I actively I'll watch Willa Days now just because I got into One Piece. It's kind of crazy.
Which is crazy. It's kind of crazy how recently One Piece has just been like growing in viewership. Because everybody's talking about you need to read One Piece. It's the war between you can't watch or read One Piece because it's too long. You don't have enough time to sit down and actually go through it. But there's like a whole group of people that's like, nah, there's not enough episodes. I need more.
I don't know. For me, if it's something long, I would much rather read it, because, man, especially with like filler and stuff like that. When I watched Naruto all these years ago, if I would have known that there are websites dedicated to getting rid of filler, I would have just started watching One Piece instead.
Like OnePiece?
Yes, like holy cow, those people are actual saviors in the community.
Which is surprising to me. You told me that you got into freaking One Piece through Film Red. I couldn't believe it. I didn't believe the propaganda actually worked.
Well, it was like my friends, like we like our theater, which is really weird because I live in like small country town, and our theater plays like every anime movie. So I just go watch them with them, even if I have no idea what the movie is. So I never watched an episode of Jujutsu no Kaisen, watched the movie. I mean, I have yet to read it, but same with Dragon Ball. But I mean, I've never watched Dragon Ball Super, but I mean, I've like watched Z and stuff like that. So Film Red kind of had the same thing where I just showed up and I was like, dude, this is so like the perfect word for One Piece is raw. Like
that's what I like to hear. Raw, peak goat, peak fiction goat.
I can never remember his name. I just call him Adam Sandler. It's the Marine Admiral that he has like an Italian name, and it's gonna beat me up. He's just like the light gold stuff.
Okay, yeah.
He is the sole reason I started reading it, because I was like, dude,
oh shoot,
that is so unbelievably raw, and I couldn't stop laughing because he just looks like Adam Sandler.
It's like Rosalina or something like that.
Yeah, it's that guy. It was, and then obviously, surprise, surprise, the Can We Get Much Higher memes made it into my Overwatch game.
I can't believe it.
Hammond has a voice line, the little hamster dude, and says, do not ask the mammal how high he can go. And I was like, man, I just gotta read this shit. And
you telling me this is crazy. Because
I just couldn't stop reading.
Because there was Film Red, I've heard like 3 stories of people actually getting into One Piece because of Film Red, which I find crazy to me. And the Get Much Higher memes, someone I know stopped reading it because he's like, I'm sick and tired of seeing One Piece penis on my timeline. And I'm like, okay, right? So it's kind of crazy. But
you're telling me they didn't like seeing Whitebeard pack?
They were off put. I'm like, bro, you were like 80 episodes into it.
Even make it worse, the reason why I agreed to watch a One Piece Film Red was because Amelie was voicing Uda. So and I am a big Amelie fan. So honestly, if I have to thank anything and anybody for watching One Piece, it's or reading it is because of Amelie, which is so funny.
I heard mixed opinions about the film Red movie. A lot of people said that if you don't like J-pop, you're probably not gonna like the movie.
Yeah,
Because it's like
yeah.
mostly music. So how was it for you?
So I like Otto anyway. Otto's like one of my favorite J-pop artists, so I'm super biased. I'll just admit to it. I have a blind eye towards this, and it is, to put it lightly, it is an Otto concert. She has like 6 or 7 songs in the movie. It's insane. Like you have to either be really into Otto or really into One Piece or really into J-pop to like it.
Yeah.
But still a banger.
Because people were having mixed opinions. They're like, why didn't Brooke have like a musical thing with Uta? I felt like a missed opportunity.
It's like after reading it, I had the same opinion. But honestly, if I would have watched One Piece film Red after I started reading, I would have such a different opinion. Because the idea of Uda being canon, but the story not being canon is so unbelievably confusing. And I have no idea what Oda is cooking with that, or if he is even cooking with that, but it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, someone that's been reading this series for a while. When I heard that Shanks had a kid, it was like crazy to me because it's like
World shattering.
Is everybody on the red hair Shanks like deadbeat dads? Like, what's really happening here? Like, nobody's taking care of their kids on the ship. Everybody has unknown kids. But when you really get to see the episodes with Uta and Luffy, I feel like she should come back into the story somehow. Or they try to bring her into the story, but not like her character appearing in the story, but maybe like a reference to her. So I feel like that's something that you should do, because then it'll be just a wasted character. Like she was only here for the movie. Like, come on.
Especially such a good character that seems to be very loved by people who watch the movie, especially like
I've seen so much.
Because she just feels like female Luffy, to be completely honest with you. She has like the same personality where she gets really pissed at certain things, but she's super laid back and goofy about everything else. It's a really interesting dynamic, especially because it's insane that we see Luffy's backstory at the beginning of One Piece, but like she's never mentioned. We only hear about Sabo and Ace, but then in the movie we find out that Uda is like equally as important to him, which is crazy.
They're there around the same time. She was just not.
I'm pretty sure from what I understood anyway, is she gets mentioned after Sabo gets like hit or whatever.
Okay.
I don't think they show Ace in the movie at all.
When it comes to like Gear 5 and all that, did you feel like it hurt the experience for you, or it's just like something you're waiting for, like something like, when is this gonna happen? The anticipation.
It's so interesting because I had no idea what that was. I didn't even think Gear 5 was Luffy to begin with. I was like, why is there just this floating dude? And then my friends were getting hype over it. They're like, oh my god, they actually animated Gear 5. And so I was like, dude, this sounds awesome. And then, of course, like, being up with Twitter and everything, all I see is people, you know, scrounging on the internet, typing, oh my gosh, guys, it's going to happen in April. He's going to be animated. And stuff like that. So I'm super excited. Like, I'm on Reverie right now, but going into Wano, I'm like, I absolutely can't wait.
Oh yeah, what chapter are you on?
Oh, I just looked it up. It's 915.
Okay. So when it comes to Gear 5, like obviously on our channel we try to make everything at least kind of decent for anime onlys. Well, I guess like other people just keep spoiling Gear 5. Like there's so much art of it.
Yeah, there's so much art of it and so many theories. Because
I'd be like self-conscious, like, should I retweet this? Because I know some people are reading One Piece right now. I don't want to spoil them.
Yeah.
Because it was a big moment. When Gear 5 appeared on... when Gear 5 first appeared, there were so many theories. We thought freaking Luffy... we thought that this was a Luffy awakening, where it's like he had tree sap. Bro, if you hear the tree sap theories, it's crazy. Because it references...
I'm not references that, but...
I gotta show you these tree sap theories before, because that was like the biggest One Piece theory to happen. We didn't know he was like a different fruit. We always thought that he was rubber, that Luffy was always rubber. Since you're already on Twitter, you already know about everything. So how do you navigate spoilers? Do you just embrace them?
See, to be quite honest with you, it's very funny. My perfect example is when Persona 5 Royal came out. Like
Hmm.
this is like the my perfect example. I do not care about spoilers because at the end of the day, I know that if unless it's bad, like Tokyo Revengers bad, like ending bad, then like that kind of turns it off. But in my eyes, it's either gonna like make my experience better because I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to see that, or I should drop this now because that sounds terrible.
Hmm.
With Gear 5, it's just like the idea that Oda went with is so cool to me. To be quite honest with you, power scalers can go to hell after Gear 5 came out.
Yeah.
Cause now you have the cartoon scalers that are coming in, and it's so funny listening to people argue. Because that's all I found out about Gear 5. Obviously, besides the movie, it was people arguing about if he could beat Goku now. And that
That is
I,
not real. That is not a
I
real thing that happens.
I
That's not real.
love that that is my baseline now. Is that when something gets if I see like an anime spoiler, it always has something to do with beating Goku. Like I'm a big Tensura fan. Like the time I got reincarnated as a slime,
Yep.
I love talking about Ramiru because like that's just my character. And I never read like the web novels because I'm not like 50 years old or whatever.
Damn.
But that's how I found out about like how broken Ramiro was, and that's what got me in. Is because someone argued on like a it's like a 20 it's like a 20 reply Twitter thread of them arguing if Ramiro could beat Goku. So that's just like honestly, spoilers don't phase me anymore because there's so many of
Hmm.
them. Pokemon is big about that too because I'm big in the Pokemon community. You actively just have to not look at Twitter for like
Yeah.
2 months in advance, and it's like especially when you're someone like me who like gets on Twitter to like interact with people. On the rare occasion I do stream, it's just like there's no point in avoiding them.
Cause like someone who's since I'm caught up, I still have to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
Like every like every week, it's just like, oh, did you guys read the chapter? Because the chapters like come out
Chapters
randomly.
get leaked immediately. It's insane.
Once so Sunday comes the official release on Viz Media, and then
Mhm.
Monday immediately is when everything gets leaked. So you just read the
Yeah.
chapter, and then now you're getting leaked for the next chapter that was gonna happen on either next Sunday or Thursday. But we don't talk about that.
JoJo's has the same issue. When part 8 was coming out, you would read the new release chapter, and then all of a sudden everything about the next chapter was out, and you were just like, well, I mean, cool. Honestly, JoJo is probably where I get most of my like tolerance towards leaking. I just got so used to reading. Like Chainsaw Man's bad about it too. Like they will leak those chapters like 4 chapters in advance and just not elaborate further.
There's gonna come a time where we actually do get the One Piece reveal,
Yeah.
and there's gonna be people talking about the leaks early on. Do you feel like if you see the leaked One Piece surprise beforehand, do you think it will ruin your experience, or how do you feel? How do you
Dude,
feel that's it's gonna happen?
that's
Because
a good.
once the One Piece drops, I know for a fact there's gonna be a million people out there hating. They'll be like, "That's the One Piece, seriously." Like that, you guys been reading
Yeah,
the series for this long because of
I
this.
mean,
I know it's gonna
people aren't
happen.
even happy about Gear 5, man. Like, I can't, they're, I, I don't know what gets in people's brains to just hate on something because it's, like, the hating on stuff because it's popular is insane to me.
Hmm.
Like, and I don't think oh man. Man, it just goes back to Tokyo Revengers, I guess, like, where the ending was just leaked to be so bad. But I actually don't see a world where Oda doesn't cook perfectly at the end. Like this man's gonna pull out like a perfect beef Wellington, like he's
Hmm.
Gordon Ramsay. I think it would obviously ruin some of the surprise, but like I said, I'm probably so used to it at this point that it would just make me more hyped to like see him draw it or something. And it was equally as raw when we saw Shanks say, "Let's go find the One Piece," basically.
Tying that all back, we're going back to the beginning, right? Obviously, you got hooked through the movie. Now
Yeah.
it's actually time to read the series. So
Mm-hmm.
when in the series where you're like, this is what I need to read. This is when I need to catch up. Like what part in the story was the hook for you? Because for me,
Dead ass.
it was like chapter 1.
So I love like I actually just have an active tier list right here, just sitting here that I like
Damn.
crafted. Dead ass, it's probably Syrup Village, but like the first 2 arcs are like equally is just incredible. Like
Syrup Village? That's like a unique choice.
Well,
Because I feel like people will start getting annoyed because of Usopp and whatnot.
yeah, it's like,
But reading it is way different because I'm rereading One Piece, the manga at least. And
yeah,
reading it is way more fun.
the antagonist of Syrup Village is still, in my opinion, one of the most cool villains ever. I don't even remember what his name is, but they're like the cat boy.
Professor Kuro? Yeah.
I think that, yeah. Like, I was like, man, if he can make something as cool as a dude who just straight up just has cat abilities, then like, I can't imagine what he gets to. And then Usopp, I mean, I'll be honest, I hated Usopp so much. He's so annoying.
Fair.
But like, I think I like Syrup Village more now, just because Oda has done such a well job at like making characters more likable over time. Oh, I can't wait to talk about Sanji later, but yeah, I just think Syrup Village was where I said, man, I cannot wait to read the next chapter. Like, from Syrup Village probably all the way up to, like, Marineford. I was reading so many chapters a night. I would, instead of, like, just, like, watching YouTube, I would just read instead. It got to that point where I was like, man, I can't wait to read more. So
Yeah.
it is very odd that Syrup Village is my go-to choice for when I wanted to read it.
Yeah, because another thing that's very controversial in the community is when people try to sell One Piece to anybody, they're like, "Oh, One Piece gets good after this certain amount of chapters."
Yeah,
It gets
oh,
good
I
at this.
hate that.
And I'm like, okay, so you did not read Arlong Park because I feel like
Dude.
that's where everything like hits hard. Like,
Arlong Park is where it really hits.
like this is not a freaking silly goofy anime manga
That's where
series.
we see our first death.
If you were to recommend One Piece to another person, and they'd be like, "But there's too many chapters, there's too many anime episodes." To me, you know, I'm gonna let you cook, and then I'll say what I would do.
You may have a similar opinion. I can feel it that you probably do. The way I get people hooked on things, if they say it's too long, then that's on them. Like, sure, man, if you don't, like, either way, you gotta think about it. When they're reading, if they're scared of something that's over 1,000 chapters, but they're reading, like, 6 series that are all around 100, and then it literally doesn't matter. I would never... JoJo community is so bad about part skippers are so annoying to talk about. It's like... You don't say, oh, it gets good here. Like, you just straight up say, look, you may not like these parts. The reason why Arlong Park is so good is because of the build-up to Arlong Park. The reason why, like, Alabasta was so good is because of the arcs before it. Like, you can't have One Piece without all the mediocre subpar arcs, in my opinion. Like, so I can't recommend someone, oh, it gets good here. I would just say it's all good. Like, and if you don't want to read it because it's long, then whatever. But
Yeah,
I mean, what are you gonna do if someone doesn't want to read a billion chapters and whatever? Or you just tell them go watch the movie, and then they'll get fed the propaganda like I did.
let's go the propaganda. So Oda said this thing in for this convention, and it was after Wano was ending, and he said, "Oh, if you're a new One Piece reader, you can start the series from right here, because everything after this is gonna get super good." And hopefully, once you get after Wano, you'll see what I'm talking about. I know you see the spoilers on Twitter, but when you actually read it, it hits different. But
Okay.
but when he said that, a lot of the non One Piece enjoyers, they're like, "Oh, so you're telling me that he was just wasting his time with that 25 years on the other 1,000 chapters? Why would I read the other 1,000 when I can just start here?" Which doesn't make any sense. Me personally, I would just say if you don't want to commit to it, then you don't have to commit to it.
No.
You don't join the server
Agree.
because it will fall into your lap eventually. I feel like that's how it happens. Because my sister recommended me One Piece, and I'm like, okay. And I just started from episode 1. I had no idea how many episodes One Piece had. It just kept going and going. I'm like, okay. And I didn't care how many episodes there were. And I just kept going until Dressrosa. Dressrosa ruined it for me.
Dressrosa ruined it for you?
Yes, because Dressrosa in the anime, it will literally be still frames. It'll be still frames and zoom-ins for hours.
I've seen those clips. It's insane because I think Dressrosa is so goated, but when I was talking to my friend who's only watched the anime, he's like, I don't know, man. It's insane to me because Dressrosa was so cool. And then I heard my anime-only friend like, I mean, it's okay.
It was cool when I came back because I came back in 2020. I stopped watching the One Piece anime in 2016. I came back 2020, And then I skipped Dressrosa and I went straight to Zoe and Whole Cake. And then I'm like, wow, these are really good arcs, which we're gonna talk about because you're there. You just finished that.
Yeah.
These are really good arcs. And then I reread Dressrosa and I'm like, wow, this is actually way better because that's when I started the manga.
Yeah.
If I kept watching the anime, I probably would have never watched Dressrosa. I would have skipped it. What are your opinions on it? How do you feel about Doflamingo?
Okay, so first off, I just gotta say, Doffy got screwed over. I don't care if Luffy's the main character. I understand that it's in character for Doffy to lose like that,
You think he should have
because
won?
of his ego. I don't think he should have won, but I think the way that he lost is a little weird. Like, the idea of Luffy having to, like, stall out time to regenerate is, like, weird, I guess. I don't know, I'm probably way too used to everyone getting one shot in, like, everything else, but Doffy just felt like he had, like, a perfect setup to everything. He talked like he was just never going to lose, and
As
it
he
seemed
should.
pretty reasonable. That man gaslit an entire island into believing that he was saving them, which is insane. And he arguably, I mean, I obviously haven't read Wano, so I don't know anything about like Kaido's group and all that. I think up to that point, I mean, I think his crew's even better than Big Mom's in terms of like what their
Oh.
usefulness is. Like, that man had a child who would just, like, straight up... Well, not a child, I guess. I guess she's an adult. But she would just, like, turn everybody into toy soldiers, which was crazy to me.
W manipulation, yep.
Because... And I think Doffy's character is super well built, because you kind of just hear about him every now and then, but you hear him referred to as Joker. I think it's funny that... I also love Law, which is probably why I love Dressrosa so much, because Law's character is, like, peak in there.
Okay.
It was just really cool. I don't know. Doffy is just so good, man. I don't know. I like Crocodile is like one of my favorite antagonists. I think he looks so cool. He looks like what a pirate should like. In my vision, a pirate looks like. Doffy feels like the Florida version of Crocodile in every way. And it's so great. I also just forget that Doffy is old as fuck, by the way. That man looks like he's 20-something.
He's like 40, 47.
And he's like 40-something. That man hasn't aged a bit. And also...
Yeah, he looks like he runs a casino.
That's when we learn more about awakened fruits. That's where I also see Oda's uniqueness start to kick in. Like, the idea of regenerating body parts with... Revisioning a body part, I guess is the best way to put it. With strings, because... My least favorite part in JoJo is part 6. And that's the exact thing Jolene does, but Oda does it way better because Doflamingo just has so much hatred that that man just refused to die. And also, Gear 4 is awesome.
Oh, you like the design of Gear 4?
Snake Man isn't till
Big Mom, yeah, Whole Cake.
Yeah, Big Mom. But Gear 4, I haven't seen a lot of Gear 5, obviously, yet, but
Neither have I.
Gear 4 has just some insanely good art. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, when it comes to Gear 4, I really like the uniqueness. Like, when you see Gear 2 and Gear 3, you'll think like Luffy will turn into this like really buff warrior for his next transformation.
Yeah.
He's gonna become more agile, he's gonna become more faster. But then he turns into this big balloon and you're like, huh?
Dude,
like,
it was
what's going on, bro?
Gear 3 was the same way, because Gear 3, like when he used too much of Gear 3, he would shrink or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, man, Oda, you have the perfect balance of comedy with, like, seriousness, which I guess is why Doffy's loss is a little better to me, because it shows that Luffy is still taking it serious, but he still has that quote-unquote cartoonish vibe to him, where he eats to regenerate his power, which is just so funny. I don't know why. The idea of that man just... Him and Zoro, actually, them just eating... so funny, and that kind of redeemed it, because the whole thing was let me breathe and regenerate my hockey and eat so I can basically come out with him with full strength. So yeah, Dressrosa is cool. Doflamingo is base. Law is just so cool. Law's ability is just honestly one of the coolest things too. Dressrosa just has so many cool devil fruits.
I like Dressrosa from what I read. The whole birdcage thing felt like an actual...
Oh, an actual threat.
Yeah, like an actual... like, I feel like people... Like, random civilians would be dying.
Yeah,
people,
it was insane.
It was, like, actual desperation. I felt like we were on a timer. Because usually, Luffy will goof around for a little bit.
Goof around for a little bit.
And
yeah,
then he gets knocked down, and you're like, Luffy, get back up. You have to finish him off. And then Luffy's like, all right, bet. And then he gets the second win and destroys him. But this time, it felt like Luffy had all the cards against him. Like everything was crumbling down upon him.
We got to see I think this is the first time we really get to see the Straw Hat Pirate at their full utility.
Yeah.
And also probably the last time, because I noticed in Whole Cake, Frankie, there's just like now some of the Straw Hat Pirates just gotta get kicked to the side in some things, and it's a little sad, but I understand because he has such a giant crew and you can't obviously keep everybody in. But I feel like in Dressrosa we saw like the best of like every Straw Hat Pirate at that point.
Yeah, I personally thought that Law might have died in Dressrosa. Like when I started reading it, when I started watching it, I was like, Law is definitely dying this arc. But then he somehow survived, and I was like, okay.
The specific manga panel of Luffy holding Doflamingo's foot with his own foot when Doflamingo's about to stomp. That is my wallpaper right now.
Did you see the Tom and Jerry one?
So cool. The what?
The Tom and Jerry meme?
I have not.
Bro, I need to send this to you. The Tom and Jerry. I'm gonna send this.
I also have played a little bit of One Piece Odyssey because this kind of branches off into that. And it's a interesting game. I really like the way that Oda made this story, because in Odyssey, it's Doflamingo's brother that holds his foot over Law, and seeing like Oda's version of a parallel is so interesting, because like obviously fan theories are always different. Like, oh, if I never even remember what his brother's name is because it's like something weird, but if Doflamingo's brother like lived, like how would Doflamingo be? But like Oda's take on it is that Doflamingo's brother would still want to save Doflamingo instead. And it was like the complete opposite of Luffy. Luffy just wanted to beat the ever-living shit out of him at that end point. Like, Luffy was just tired of people dying, and that's what I love about Luffy. Luffy, like, at the end of the day, has a really like realistic point of view. Like, he keeps his ideals.
Luffy does not care about anybody's backstory. Like,
no.
People would try to explain to him, Luffy, this is why you should care about this issue. It's like, I don't care. I'm only here because this person fed me this food, and this person, people are dying around me, and they're not able to eat, and they're getting their freedom taken away. And I think that's why a lot of people like Luffy, because he's really that guy. He's always in there for the better cause, and then he gets labeled this evil.
My friend, oh my god, my friend goes, Luffy is what his dad wanted to be.
Damn.
That has lived rent-free in my head the entire time. Because, I mean, obviously I feel like I know nothing about Dragon at all. But, like, Luffy, especially with, what's it called? The fish people. Fishman Island. When...
I don't have an image of this, but there's like a figurine.
What in the world? There's no way that's, like, officially licensed. That has to just be, like, the most... Unironically, I can see Tom becoming Doflamingo. God, that is...
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that is so bad.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's so funny. Oh, to speak about Dressrosa, the dwarves, is that what they call themselves? Dwarves, the little guys. Oh,
the Tontadas?
Yes. My one of two figures that I now own for One Piece is Robin and Leo's fit. Leo is unironically one of my favorite characters in One Piece.
Oh,
I can't tell you why. Like, he's just cool. The idea of little guys being that strong are so funny to me. I don't know, Dressrosa's cool. I think Dressrosa was really my point where I'm like, oh yeah, Oda's going to cook. Like, this man has a hibachi out in front of me, and I'm about to taste the best food I'm ever gonna taste. So, and Whole Cake really did that. Man, you're not kidding that. Oh, like, it just keeps getting better. It's insane. Man, Sanji used to be a bitch, but man, did he get a glow up.
And this is what I was telling you about, alright? Usopp and Sanji are characters that are either very loved or very hated.
Very hated. Oh, I agree.
Whenever I see Usopp, I'm like, Usopp, you have so much in your arsenal, you can be doing so much, but you choose to be a coward, even though you faced some of the most terrible people in the world and came out and survived.
Bro, the fact that Doflamingo listed that man as like a top priority threat. To be fair, Usopp did. I have that manga panel saved when he like gets his haki and and I don't know how it is in the anime, but in the manga, seeing that panel of is her name Sugar? Whatever the
Yeah,
girl's
Sugar.
name is. Seeing her like eyes twist out like that was, man, Usopp, why could you not just do this all the time? Because you could be unironically like the coolest Straw Hat pirate because he uses the most to his ability. It's insane because he's like, besides Nami, he's like the only one that doesn't have something interesting about
Yeah,
him because he's just a normal dude with a
yeah.
slingshot pretty much.
Before Usopp was a character that was the all-rounder. He used to work on the ship. He used to help Luffy if he needed anything.
Exactly. He was the jack of all trades.
But now we have people to fill those roles. So it's like, what is Usopp supposed to do now? And I feel like he should be the support of the group when it comes
Yeah.
to either fighting or taking down enemies or coming
He's
up with
the
plans to
sniper.
infiltrate and do stuff. Even though Luffy would just ignore him and just run in the building and take
Yeah.
everybody down regardless. But I feel like his support, even for like Chopper, Frankie, and all them, he can do so much, especially being a sniper. But I feel like his time will come because he's built up to be this amazing character.
Yeah. I know, I like I said, obviously the movie isn't canon or whatever, but that whole thing that he does with his dad is super interesting. Like, they can like see the same thing in each other, like they can see each other's point of view basically or something like that. I was just like, okay, Oda, I don't know what you're cooking with this. Like looking back on it, now that I know that he has like hockey to like have like insane vision or whatever. That, and I can make the same argument about Zoro. Zoro felt like like an actual idiot for the longest time.
Oh,
Because
why?
like, I just felt like his character, it kind of had the Sanji effect to me, where it felt like he only cared about one thing, and it was his swords, which he's a swordsman, that makes sense, but like, I felt like over time you could see Zoro start to really put respect and faith into Luffy, like all the Straw Hats eventually come to.
Yeah.
And going back to Sanji, I'm just so happy that I don't look at him as the character that just is a womanizer. I can look at him at an actual angle and be like, wow, Sanji's actually a great character, and he actually cares for the better of other people. And his whole thing that he'll never use his hands to fight, his hands are only to cook for people, is just, it's so good.
That's not trauma.
I'm so happy. Also, Sanji gets bonus points because he is the baddest sister of all time.
Damn.
This is what I love about Luffy, because in the manga, I think like Sanji's sister is like basically like Boa, where she's just like naked pretty much, and Luffy just only looks at her face and says, "Okay, what do you need me to do?" That's why Luffy's our goat, though. Luffy could never.
Luffy is the go. Sanji, when I first read One Piece, I'm like, damn, they just keep overusing this this gag for
I
him.
have a really interesting argument against that, though, because the first woman that we ever see him interact with other than Nami is Robin, and he holds a gun to Robin's head.
Damn.
That's the first time we've ever seen Sanji, like, first and only time we've ever seen Sanji, like...
I don't know why they got rid of Sanji's guns. I get it, but like,
Yeah,
nobody else
he was
is
so
doing it in the
raw,
series.
though. Dude, I don't know, like, something about a character with a gun in a suit. I don't know, man.
Bro,
And he's
the panels in
smoking.
Baratier are crazy. Like the one where he's surrounded by all the chefs and they have the gun pointed towards him. I feel like that's one of my favorite panels of all time.
I love Sanji's design, and I think his character could have been so good. And for the longest time, I was like, man, he's never going to like get over this gag they keep doing. Because it's not like Brooks, where Brooks just like has the off moment gag with somebody. Sanji just felt so overused, but I guess it was to build up to show that when he met Pudding, which I really hated Pudding at first, but like at the end there, I sobbed.
Oh my gosh, Pudding!
I sobbed.
Bro, when I saw Pudding betray Sanji, I'm like, I can't stand.
Dude, I was like, I hate this bitch. And then
Oh my gosh.
one of the very last panels of Whole Cake was her like confessing her actual love to him and then taking out his memory. I was like, man, dude.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's the first time I think I've ever saw Oda make a character that had character progression that quickly.
Yeah.
Because everyone else feels really like built out and layered forever, but Pudding like came through like immediately.
My favorite moments with Pudding are when they were making the cake, and then she was looking over that song. And she's like, "Damn, he's actually a decent person.
He's actually a good cook."
I was like, "Wow, those are my favorite moments."
My other favorite moment is every moment with Pedro. Pedro is based, and I will always love Pedro. I
Me
still feel like
personally, I feel
what
like
he
Pedro did
did,
not need to die.
he didn't. I don't think his death amounted to anything either.
Like he just wanted to die. I feel like he's done. He wanted the sense of duty. He just wanted to leave.
Well, I guess the entire thing was that he wanted to die where he got hurt, where he should have died, pretty much. And I think that was his way of having a warrior's death, even though dude just blew himself up and
He's like, I'm gonna help you guys escape. He blows
it
up, and,
and
they're
then they
still on their
immediately
tail.
they immediately get surrounded. Like,
Yeah.
it was cool, but his relationship with all the other what are they called links? Is that what the animal
minks?
people are called?
Yeah, the
Minks,
minks?
link, the minks. That's what they're called. Especially with Carrot. Like, I felt that really built up Carrot's like her big moment really well. But that was the only thing that did. That man should have not died. I don't know why he died. I don't know what the point of it was, but you know what? It was still the most raw manga panel ever. Carrot?
Yeah.
Are you trying to ask me if Are you trying to ask me if she should have been a member?
I'm just asking about her character in general. Because
I like her.
Because we're gonna move on to like Big Mom's crew, and what do you think about that?
I like Carrot. Yeah. I'm not one for like, especially in a pirate series. It feels kind of weird that they had the cutesy character for so long, but because I just felt Chopper already felt that role. But they kept mentioning the moon over and over again, obviously, and I really like Carrot for the whole sense that I do and don't like it for the sense that she was basically used for a tool for one fight, pretty much. Yeah. I think it's really cool that we got to see what a Mink's full power was, because they were obviously building up to Peckham's doing the same thing, which, by the way, Peckham's is the most based Big Mom pirate ever. I thought this was going to segue into if I thought she was a pirate, because people argue about that all the time on who and who shouldn't be a pirate.
Oh, she was.
It's like
to join the Straw Hats?
Yeah, because people say the thing that Luffy only wanted 10 other pirates on his crew or something.
Yeah.
And I think I saw people arguing about is her name Yamato? Yamato. Yeah. Her. People argue about her all the time. And I'm like, well, once Jinbei joined, that's 9, and Vivi counts as 10 because Vivi is a Straw Hat pirate. And I'm like, bro, if you're gonna say that Luffy has one more slot and you're not recognizing Vivi, then you're trolling the One Piece community. I don't know.
So many people that can join the crew that I feel like deserve
so many.
I think the crew is pretty good so for now, because there's a lot of characters that are not getting their time to shine, or still lacking that development that still need to be developed. Robin. Ooh, you gonna see Nami. When it comes to Nami,
I've seen the anime clip of Robin peaking
as a fighter, yeah, but as a character, she gets. You'll learn more about her. But okay. Nami, there was this whole thing that people just ignore. When Nami got adopted by Belmare, she was in a war before that, and I feel like something with that war has to come back to face Nami.
Oh, definitely.
Like somehow,
because we've seen things come back to Nami a ton of times. Like, I mean, the perfect example is Arlong. She has a strong relationship with fishmen in general, just because she was kidnapped to be a part of the Arlong pirate. On to Nami, because I think this is interesting. I feel like as a navigator, dude, she just looks at her funny little compass and says, "Yeah, that's where we should go." Yeah. Like, because in Arlong we see that she builds actual maps of the world, which is insane. And I understand that the reason she doesn't build maps, like Luffy doesn't let her build a map. I don't know. I feel like as a navigator, especially with her staff and Zeus, she feels significantly more strong as a fighter. She feels more like what Usopp is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which I kind of dislike.
When it comes to Nami and her navigation skills, as a navigator, she really doesn't do much except for like give out information about certain areas. She can say, okay, the log post is saying this way, which is like the right way we're supposed to go. But then Luffy's like, man, I want the best adventure possible, so we just go this way. And then he's like, okay, you're the captain, so I guess we have to go this way. That's why her job kind of is robbed. If she was on a different crew, then I think her skills would be.
She would be so much more valuable. It's like
they'll be looking to her for everything.
I was watching. I don't know. I watch a lot of ASMR, but there's just one chick who she was like. To be completely honest with you, Nami is more of a captain than Luffy is in terms of boating skills. Because Nami will be like, this is where we have to go and this is what we have to do. But then Luffy's like, nah, bro, we gotta go this way. Because I feel like that's how punk hazard basically happen? Because isn't it like Luffy just says, "Oh, that looks cool. We should go
Yeah,
there."
we should go. But that's what I love about One Piece, because everybody needs to be a part of the crew. It's not just one guy that's like, "Yep, this is everything we're gonna do. Just follow me. Just follow me. We'll be in the right direction." But everybody has a part that they need to play to achieve success, and I love that.
So I'm like, I also love Jinbei. I think he's more attuned to be a human than say Chopper and Jinbei. And I guess that's also going back to Carrot, why I was like, man, Carrot would be a good Straw Hat. It adds more diversity and like especially the art of all the characters. I have to remember that Zoro and Sanji are farther from human than anything because they act like actual animals.
Yeah.
Especially at the end of Whole Cake, I feel like they become more of a family than a crew. They will put so much faith into each other that it's incredible. The whole thing between Sanji and Luffy of telling each other we will be here at this time, at this exact place, at this moment, and they just believe in each other to be there is so awesome.
That's why one of my favorite arcs is Amazon Lily, because in Amazon Lily it's literally just Luffy by himself.
Man, I could not agree more.
We've never seen Luffy by himself ever, and to see like his actual character around random people and not just his crew is kind of like, it was kind of baffling to me. Luffy on his own is a really good character, and he's gathered all these other people that I can understand why they would trust him so much as a captain, and see like why would they follow in his lead. And it's like it's really good.
And I especially like it because the first person we see that ever follows him is his first, his technically first crewmate, Kobe. Like you can see from the very beginning that people just naturally follow Luffy. Kobe had absolutely no reason to get on that boat with Luffy, but he did anyways. And you see it with Zoro a lot too, because Zoro, with Nami too, when Luffy gives Nami his hat, which is one of the best manga panels of all time, Nami puts trust in him to go beat the Arlong pirates. It's so great. You see that with Usopp too. I just love that they don't have a natural trust towards Luffy. He builds it up into them. And it's not sent back. Luffy just automatically assumes that they will trust him no matter what. Because you see that with Nami. Although knowing that Nami was trying to betray him, didn't care because he knew at the end of the day that she was now his crewmate and that he would put all of our trust in her no matter what, which was awesome.
And you see the same thing with Sanji. Sanji tried to reject Luffy so much. He's like, please, I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to protect the crew. Guys, just leave me here. And then Luffy's like, no, I'm not gonna leave you here. We already built all this together. We're leaving together.
Chopper's story is like completely different from everybody else's.
Chopper's time will come eventually, hopefully.
Oh, I have an opinion on Chopper. You know how he has this big form? Hot opinion? I hate that he can control it now. I remember because my friends were talking about it in the car. I think we went to like some ramen bar or someplace, and they go, "Hey Ethan, have you heard what Chopper sounded like before he talked in his big form?" I'm like, "No." It is genuinely one of the most terrifying noises ever. I was like, that's what he sounds like?
I need to hear a clip.
It's oh man, the best way to put it is it sounds like a dying moose that's bass boosted. I love him.
When he's big in his giant form, he tries to be intimidating. He can't no more. But we barely get to see his monster point ever, so.
Yeah. Which obviously it makes sense because it's like his last resort because all the characters kind of have like their last resort. Chopper's fighting style, put in quotes, is so cool.
Kung Fu point?
All the points in general are awesome. Watching Big Mom punch defense point and Chopper being unfazed by it was so funny. Second of all, seeing Big Mom be genuinely confused as to why Chopper just took the hit like a champ is funny.
Because I talked about this on your stream when I was there. It's time for your Straw Hat ordering, alright?
Oh, man.
Alright.
Oh, God.
It's time. Because I already
Number
said...
one, Vivi.
Vivi? Nah, you're a liar.
No, it's Karoo. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Karoo the goat.
I can respect that, yeah.
Do I get to count the boats? Are
No.
the boats considered a part of the crew? Because Going Merry is the most goated Straw Hat pirate ever.
You like the Going Merry more than the All Sunny?
I cried whenever that thing caught on fire, dude. In the manga, when it says like "Thank you for taking care of me," I bursted out into tears.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, "That's not the first time you're gonna cry to a piece of wood," and I still don't know what that means, and I'm terrified.
I don't know what that means. What what is he talking about?
I have no idea.
Hey, you probably know something I don't.
My number one would be Zoro.
You can include Luffy in this if you want. You can
Okay.
include. Yeah.
It would still be Zoro number one.
Okay.
Especially because I've been reading on Twitter, people are saying that like to have a black sword, you like to make your own black sword, you have to give up like conquer all your conqueror hockey or something.
I don't know if that's real.
I don't know if it's true either, but it's a cool theory, and it makes Mihawk a lot interesting. I'll tell you that much. That guy is like a normal ass Spanish guy with a sword. But Zoro's my number one. I just think three sword style is sick, and I think everybody agrees with that. Also, the meme of four sword style is hilarious.
Yep, between his butt cheeks.
He also feels like the character that would give up the most for Luffy, because you see it in Little Garden when they're all in wax. He says he gives the idea that he'd cut off his legs to save the crew, to get out of the wax, which I think is awesome. I just think he's overall the best well put together. And then I think number two is Luffy. There's not much to say about how good Luffy is as a character. He's the person that everybody's terrified of because he is so unpredictable. His backstory is awesome. He gets completely carried by his brother Sabo. I love Sabo. Man, give me more Sabo.
You love Sabo more than Ace, right?
Oh, 100%. I love Ace Man, but Sabo is my king.
I'm here for the Ace.
Number three is probably Nico. I love Nico Robin.
Okay.
Her backstory also is just insanely good.
Very hard hitting.
I think she also has the best turnover. The I want to live statement is rent free in my head all the time because it just makes me laugh because people joke about it all the time. But that genuinely felt like the biggest turnaround for a character in One Piece, besides like Bellamy, which I love Bellamy too. I love his character. Number four is Sanji now. Sanji used to be my least favorite Straw Hat Pirate. Whole Cake.
Number 7 or something. Damn.
Yeah, Whole Cake flips for me. I don't know if he's still going to be a womanizer. I pray not. I know it's going to happen. I love him though. Learning about his past too helped a lot. Knowing why he wants to cook because of his mother, and really it just hits home.
Like Sanji already had a tough backstory the first time you read it.
And they just said, man, let's make it way harder. Man, it's probably Nami.
Okay.
Nami's whole thing with her sister and mother, or adoptive mother, and Arlong Pies are super good. We were dogging on her earlier about her navigation skills. But you see that she also, right next to Zoro, I think she has the most trust in everybody. Man, I'm mesmerized by how cool the shit Usopp puts together for her is, and how shit Usopp's equipment is. Redirect wind currents and make her invisible, and Usopp has a slingshot. Like,
bro, once Usopp gets a gun, it's over.
It's over.
I swear to God.
I'm gonna put Zeus with Nami because
I
haven't seen much of Zeus.
They're basically
but Zeus is so, I don't know, he's just a lovable little guy.
I love companions. I hope she's able to ride it like the Nimbus. But
amen. That would be, especially because she uses a staff.
Yeah. The navigate, bro. She'll be able to navigate way easier. This is the boost she needs.
Amen. You're actually cooking right now. We gotta hit up Oda real quick. We're at the bottom of a barrel. And this barrel's on fire because I now have to give my public opinion on if Chopper, Frankie, Brook, Usopp are better. Because I'm not gonna put Jinbei because I don't know anything about him other than he's a good guy. I know who's going to fall last, and I really hate to do it because I love him. After Nami, I'd say Usopp. Usopp's had so much redemption. Like I said, dude, give him a gun and he sweeps. I mean, I think the Chopper being lower than all of them is the real issue here, but it just feels like Brook, Frankie, and Chopper do like not a lot from what I've read. I mean, obviously Brook got the Poneglyph, which is like insane, but like we didn't see him do that. But for Usopp, I feel like also, what is it, God Emperor Usopp or whatever?
Bro, he gets all these titles, and then
the titles are they're so raw. His wanted posters are always not actually him.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. Usopp and Buggy, the character, are the same people, okay?
Oh, they're the biggest gaslighters of all time.
They're the same character.
My friend was describing Buggy to me, and like, Buggy is the biggest gaslighter of all time. And then my friend was like, nah, but you have Usopp too. Usopp did have Doflamingo thinking he was a legitimate threat there for a little bit.
Like they get these big titles, and they're walking around scared when everybody thinks that they're God.
probably be Chopper after Usopp. I mean, we've seen it's like with Frankie and Brooke, I know nothing about it. Like with Brooke, I know the whole thing with
Baboon and his crew.
Baboon and his crew.
But Frankie.
And with Frankie, dude, I feel like I know nothing about Frankie. Frankie got ranked down because I think his post-time skit fit is so horrendously bad. I think
you don't like his big arms.
I think he did the dirtiest out of everybody. Everyone else had a glow up, but Frankie just felt like he just got them balloon arms, dude. Okay. But my final three probably goes Chopper, Brooke, Frankie, which I love all three of them. My favorite anime clip is from Thriller Bark. I need to think about my least favorite arc. From Thriller Bark, where they do like the transformer thing or whatever.
I seen a clip of it 2 days ago. They transform together and you see Zoro's face is all serious.
And then there's Robin that just says no. Also, man, I probably am only ranking Robin so high because the first time we saw her was in that cowgirl fit, and oh my lord.
Bro, me personally, I feel like they done Robin's character dirty in the second half. I agree. I feel like her outfits were better in the first half. Her demeanor was better.
Because she's like such a high value person in the world because she's one of the few people who can read the poneglyphs, but they just like ignore her.
I wouldn't say one-dimensional. She's just very reserved and very in the background. She's like,
yeah, and I understand that kind of makes sense, right? Like, but I just feel like she gets sidelined way too.
No real moments where it's like, Robin, we need you to confront this person about this.
Exactly.
And you need to be on it. She's not like the rest of the crew members who are like very expressive about how they feel and what they're going through. I feel like she's the type of person to have like side one-on-one conversations with a person, and then that's when you actually get to know how she feels and whatnot.
It's like I have a panel, and it was, I love when the artists from Wano, when they're going on top of the elephant or whatever, and they like write up on the thing and they say goodbye. When Robin has a line, someone asks something to Robin about why she's with idiots or something, and she goes, I don't mind one bit. After all, I've got strong, reliable friends who will always be there to protect me.
Yep.
And it's like, that, I was like, man, Oda's gonna make Robin an actual, like, character with the Straw Hats. She's not just gonna be, like, the mom of the group. Because that's what I feel like she is. She feels like the mom, or she feels like she's, like, the off-balanced. I mean, I'm sure Jinbei will feel the same way, because Jinbei and Robin are just older. Well, Brooke too, but Brooke is comedic. But they feel super calm. They feel like they kind of off-balance everybody in a really good way. And I also just feel like Robin just doesn't have anything going for her other than she can read funny little things and she knows a lot of history.
She's just very sneaky and very, very shady.
Which I guess is in her character, because the reason she has such a high bounty is because like everything she's been in has been ruined. So
it's like, do you know who Lafitte is on Blackbeard's crew? The mime guy that comes in out of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not even mention mime guy.
Yeah. The way she moves is like Lafitte. She comes in when she needs information. She doesn't share much, and then it's just back to her regular schedule programming.
I do think Oda has something planned for her character since she's so important to the world in general.
And when you look at Luffy does not care about any of this ancient.
No,
nothing.
He does not give a shit.
Like it's Luffy's story. So when Robin is like, oh, there's this point in Wano. I'm gonna spoil. All right.
You're fine.
There's this point in Wano where Robin's like, do you want to learn about this part of the void century and whatnot? And then Luffy's like, no, I don't want to learn anything. And then Robin's like, okay, then I won't say anything. And then we move on. That's literally how it goes. Robin doesn't get these moments to shine where her specialty is. Because Luffy's like, I don't care.
To be fair, she is the first person to ever mention Joy Boy.
Yeah.
Which, man, that was cool. Knowing that actually means something now.
But yeah, that's crazy, bro. So, what is it? It's Zoro, Luffy,
and then I think I said, it's Robin.
Oh,
no, Vivi's not. Like, as much as I love Vivi and she's the best female character in the entire series, I don't think I could ever rank her. She was, if we only went based up to when she was actually on the crew, then she would be pretty high because she's a really sick character. But it would go Zoro, Luffy, Robin, Sanji, Nami Usopp, Chopper, Brook, Frankie, and then I can't rank Jinbei.
All right, so it's time for the Marine slander. So why don't you like the Marines?
Why don't I like the Marines?
Yeah.
Do I get to exclude Kobe from this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dude, they're a bunch of assholes. Jesus Christ.
I feel like the Marines haven't done anything for the story. Like, the Marines haven't caught any W's whatsoever. They just keep taking L's, and I feel like they're very incompetent.
The only W we know about is something from Garp's time, which is so funny.
Like, they try to come. It's like, yeah, if you ever watch Lupin the Third, there's this guy named Zenyatta. He comes in, he goes after Lupin, he gets so close to achieving his goals, and he never catches Lupin the Third. He never catches him. This is what the Marines do. They come in, they assert their dominance, like, we're the Marines, we're the threat. They come in, they do nothing. So,
could you argue that's why Marineford is so good?
Marineford is good because you're like, okay, all the Marines are here. Usually it's like one Marine comes in and they do some damage, but they never really get anything. But all the Marines are here, and we actually lost something. And we lost something not because they were good at their job, but because our team was very our team was very prideful. Ace was like, don't talk about my daddy like that. Yeah. And then he got impaled, and it was a lot. He got donutted.
It's like, okay, the other person that I'm going to exclude from Marine Slander is Isho, the gravity guy. Most based power I've ever seen. That is, I watched this man summon a whole meteor from the air, and I'm like, oh, they're done for. There's no way. And then I watched this man roll dice to see if he was gonna kill Luffy or not, which is funny. But yeah, no, I agree. They feel like they just add absolutely nothing at all times. They feel like they're actually just there, because at some point, even like I think even Luffy talks about how they just to ignore them.
Yeah.
I think if the Marines were allowed to let loose and do like, because we see Garp let loose, or we hear about Garp letting loose.
Brock.
Whoever Garp apparently helped fight before Roger, like you see Garp literally take a cannonball and throw it at pirates. If we saw more menaces like Garp, then I think they would be so much better. But they're so, like, manipulated, and it's so boring.
So that goes into our next question. How do you feel about the actual big bad of the series? Like, the Gorosei, how do you actually
feel? The world government?
The men that sit on the chairs, that drink tea all day, and be like, damn, the world really need to do something about these pirates.
Because I just got to the chapter where Shanks is sitting with them, pretty much.
Oh, what do you think about that?
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm very curious. I don't know why Shanks would be chatting with the old geezers, but
it doesn't like alarm you that like
it does.
Why does Shanks have these connections with these secret people?
My perfect quote, I was watching an Alpharad video, and he goes, Shanks is the type of character that you get into One Piece for, and you say, man, I can't wait to learn about this character. And then 1,000 chapters in, you say, man, I can't wait to learn about this character. More like ominous and mysterious than I would have thought he would have been, because he seems like he's in a way such a huge part of Luffy's story. Like
you get introduced to Shanks, and you're like, okay, it's almost time for Luffy to become this great pirate and meet Shanks. And then you're like, oh no, we haven't seen Shanks in forever, and he's doing all this shady stuff with the girls.
Which is funny because Shanks says that I think it's finally time to meet the boy, and then he just never did.
Yeah.
Oda lied to us on that singular panel. Man, Shanks in general, Shanks and I cannot pronounce what they're called. I just keep calling them the 5 old guys.
Just keep calling them that because that's what they.
You take the 5 most ominous Marines and the 1 most ominous, least known about pirate. I mean, Blackbeard can be said the same thing. I feel like I know nothing about Blackbeard. He's kind of an asshole, and you just mix those two together, and it's like, I have no idea what's going to happen. Like, I also have one more super, like, really out there opinion. Yeah. Fuck Oda for what he did to Kuma.
Bro, that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you what are your thoughts on Kuma.
Dude, seeing him as a slave made me so sad. I loved him. He's like
we might have to start from the beginning. Okay, how do you feel about the introduction to Kuma to what's happening right now?
Terrifying. I thought Kuma was gonna be this badass dude who like Because, you know, he was like a, whatever,
The warlords.
yes, he was a warlord, which was cool. Those guys were terrifying, right? We saw Crocodile, Doffy, and Kuma. Kuma's gonna be badass. He's such a cool ability. Because nobody knows if he erases people or not, right? So I was like, that's terrifying, then that's cool. And then he saved them, and I was like, I love Kuma, right? Why did he save them? I didn't really know at the time, but I thought it was awesome. And then everything happened where I started seeing like 30 Kumas in one page, and I'm like, what the fuck? That
Oh
was
yeah.
I was like, they did what to Kuma? And then obviously learning that that's where the whole cloning thing kind of comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time we see it. We see him as a biological weapon. He doesn't have his own brain. You see Sabo talk about it later, like, I want to save Kuma, but even if we did save him, he wouldn't be the same person ever again. I also didn't know he had a daughter until today, when I was scrolling a wiki page about him.
Bro, these One Piece fans can't keep getting away with it.
I loved Kuma. Dude, I was like, man, this guy's an actual threat, which I'm surprised you haven't asked me about, what's his face from, Skypiea
I
at
know.
all.
Dude, we glossed over Skypiea.
Dude, how did... Oh,
Because I was gonna ask you the question, like, what's your least favorite arc? Because a lot of people say Skypiea, but
Oh, I love Skypiea.
Skypiea might be like top. I really enjoyed Skypiea, but we gotta finish with Kuma first. I feel like Kuma is a really well built character, even though he doesn't
so
say
well
much.
built. It's insane.
Like,
He
it's a more
talks
show
through
than
his look.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, he has a really silent build-up, but it's so good. Like, he rarely ever talks. I also just, like, I still don't understand why he was just holding a Bible at all times. But that dude was always strapped.
Bro was preparing for the worst.
Bro was just ready. Like,
preparing for the worst, man.
and I also think out of all the 7 warlords, he was probably one of the most interesting. It took a lot out of his character when I saw him shoot a laser beam from his mouth and then realized that that wasn't actually Kuma anymore. I was like, oh, okay, he went from being able to erase people with his hand to shooting laser beams. That's an interesting character arc. It felt like Oda wasn't going to kill anybody for a while. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Oda just would, like, because everyone was, like, living. Luffy, like, barely kills anybody. Kuma felt like the first character that got killed as a character. Like,
Yeah.
obviously he's not dead, but he feels dead. Like, Kuma's dead, but...
And I feel like Thriller Bark being his introductions are very thematic in a way, because it's like the land, whereas the living and the living, but they're dead.
But they're dead.
That's kind of crazy.
I like build-up arcs a lot. That's why I like a lot of early One Piece, because most of like those in betweens.
I love Little Garden. Little Garden is my perfect example for a build-up arc I just love. Also, the idea of them cutting back to Fishman when they had, well, I don't know, Big Mom was gonna open up that like treasure or whatever that she stole from Fishman, and then it ended up being a bomb or whatever. I was like, okay, so Oda's still referencing, because Fishman's also Luffy's first like claimed piece of land as a pirate,
His first
which is
territory.
so cool. Also, I love all the brothers. They're all super cool. And Fishmen in general are pretty cool. Like in Arlong, it was really... They were just like big brutes, but we see in Fishmen that they
you get the whole flip around. You get to see the good side.
You get to see the good side of Fishmen, and that they're actually like basically an oppressed race that people only enslave. Which is insane.
Which is kind of crazy, because the introduction is like, all fishmen are like this and they treat Nami like this, and then that's the image you have. And then you get the turnaround like, oh no, these are just the minority group. It's the loud minority, as they say.
Yeah. I was really happy that Oda took it that way. That he caught, like I said, Oda's so good at using stuff that was not used early on. He does not leave a stone unturned in his stories, and I felt like that was the perfect example was with, oh, in Arlong, we see that the Arlong pirates are assholes and all the fishmen are bad, and we should hate them. And then we actually just see that the reason that they're bad is because super oppressed and everyone just wants to use them for like money, and it's kind of sad.
Do you have any theories or predictions for what you're gonna read next? Like, of course, you've been told certain things.
Yeah.
And I've heard certain things, but from you, from what you've read so far, and from what you've seen, what you heard, and what you gathered, do you have any predictions or theories that you came up with, or stuff you would like to see come from the rest of your read, or anywhere in the future?
I feel like either we'll see a fight between the four emperors of the sea, or we will see Luffy overcome the four emperors of the sea and then face the Marines and or the Resistance. Because I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, Luffy feels more like a Resistance than the Resistance does.
He's always in the right spots.
Luffy's looking to become the Pirate King, not the King of the World like Blackbeard is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens is Luffy becomes Pirate King. I would be really sad if that's not what happens. If I've read this much for him not to become it. And then I genuinely, man, this is where I get stuck on. I don't know what happens with like Blackbeard and Shanks. Obviously, like most people, I think Luffy becomes Pirate King, and I think instead of trying to fight the other world orders, I think he tries to unite them. I don't think he tries to fight off the Marines. He's never really had a Marine fight thing within him. And I think he thinks higher on the Resistance than other pirates do.
Oh.
Mostly because of Sabo. I don't think Luffy cares about his dad whatsoever, but I think because Sabo's in the Resistance and Luffy has shown a lot of gratitude towards Sabo, and they clearly love each other a lot. I think Luffy will just be like an actual liberator compared to what everyone else is trying to be.
Okay. I can. I think somewhere similarly as well. Obviously, there has to be like a big war that happens. Like there's too many people that are involved that are too important.
Yeah.
I don't feel like each of them are individual arcs. They have to come together. But I do see Luffy fulfilling his role of being the liberator and bringing maybe like the Marines and the pirates together to actually focus on the common goal, which is like the Celestial Dragons and whatnot.
I have one more thing to my
Go ahead.
theory. I just remembered. I know you don't like. I know like the whole like you all are really friendly towards anime watchers, but I just remembered Gear 5 is like called like what, the Warrior of Liberation or something like that.
Yeah.
That completely overlapped my mind. My theory sounds so much better now that I think about that. Him being an actual liberator.
Oh, I'm a genius. This is insane.
My favorite meme from One Piece fans is shitting on the TikTok One Piece community and how bad their opinions are. I saw one where they were like, yeah, Blackbeard's just gonna kill everybody and then there will be nothing. I'm like, that is the worst opinion anyone has ever put about anything.
The TikTok creators are not real. Well, some of them are. Some of them actually have some good theories, but most of them, they're not real. They're only here for clicks.
My favorite click one, they were talking about, yeah, Luffy's gonna just disappear, and then it's gonna be Shanks and Blackbeard, and then the last image was just Shanks and Blackbeard kissing. I've never laughed so harder because I was like, dude, that is the best clickbait I've ever seen in my life.
I've never seen any of this in my life.
Probably for the better.
But
I don't know if anyone. You know what? I won't say not anybody. I'm sure someone out there yearns for Blackbeard x Shanks. I'm not gonna put it past the world to think about that.
But yeah, I think talking to you was actually very fruitful. I actually gained a lot of insight of how people are perceiving the story as of right now.
It's very interesting, right? Like I did something like this similar because I had someone I knew that started watching or started reading JoJo, and that's like my big thing is JoJo's, and seeing someone who perceives it now rather than because I started reading it when part 6 would have been coming out. I did the same thing where I was just like, what do you think's gonna happen, and what is it like reading nowadays? It's insane. Like a different viewpoint on someone who's reading it now is different because like there's better ways to look at stuff now. Like if you're curious about something that you may not understand, someone out there has a good explanation of it.
Yeah.
And so because the person that I asked about, I was talking about the ending of part 6 with them, and they had just a completely different view of it than I did. And my view has been completely changed because that one person just had a different idea. And I'm like, that's why I love talking about manga with people. Like, everyone has a different opinion on everything, and if they're reasonable, they will give you a good opinion, even if it's the most outlandish shit. Someone could tell you that Big Mom is their favorite pirate ever, and if they reasoned with you enough, they can make it make sense.
Yeah, they can. You can adjust. You can literally justify anything.
All they have to say is that Big Mom, when she was like 20 something, was
she
hot
was
or something.
She
but
was bad.
She did.
But no show likes her now.
The real One Piece was the Big Mom we saw along the way.
I enjoyed your insight. It's good to see the ideas and understand the perception of how
I can't
people
wait to have different opinions tomorrow after I read 5 chapters and
hopefully
everything's changed.
Hopefully we can do this again. Maybe when we get near the next arc.
True.
I'm willing to do this again. I'm glad
I'd be more than happy to.
Maybe we can have more people on the discussion. Maybe you have more theories, stuff to craft about.
Let me argue with Afro for 30 minutes.
Afro's gonna be like, bro, I'm telling you, man. This is why Garp. This is why Garp is this, man. He's gonna talk about Blackbeard for like 30 minutes.
I was gonna say, let me pull up with the opinion that Blackbeard is irrelevant, and we'll see what Afro has to say about it.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, the pleasure's all mine.
How do you feel? How do you feel?
Dude, a lot of fun, to be completely honest with you. Because, like, obviously I talk about my friends a lot, and low-key, I have the dumbest friends ever. So talking about it with someone who has an actual, like, instead of me arguing with, I can just be like, this is what I think, and then they like, oh, this is what I think too. It's so much better.
We're closing out of this. Do you have anything to plug?
I don't recommend people follow me on Twitter, so no. I don't think they want to see anime retweeted every 20 seconds, but I do have a Twitch that I have made the worst stream schedule thing ever for. I do Pokemon Nuzlocke, and I occasionally spit out the most horrible tier list of anime ever, and I plan on, once I finally buy an editing software, it won't be about One Piece, because these guys are insane for doing this. Mine will be just on anime in general. I do plan on... Fun fact... Afro is like an actual inspiration for me. So, because I've known Afro forever, but like I watched him before I even interacted with him. So, this Willa D's has been like insane.
Yeah.
Like I loved it. You all have done incredible. So I'm super happy to be on here. Like,
any time. We are the Willa D's podcast. We're changing up our branding eventually. I don't know. We're not changing the name, but we're changing the branding. Thank you guys for all watching. Hopefully you got some new insight. Hopefully you'll tell your friends, hey, people enjoy this show this much that they can have a 2-hour discussion about it. Maybe you can get some people along with the ride, because not everybody has someone to talk about it as well. Follow us on Twitter where we keep everything updated, and yeah, see you guys for the next chapter reaction.